I'm Jared Haynes, and this is Rogue Outdoors. Today I want to show you 3 of my favorite bipods on the market in 2025. All 3 of the bipods that you're looking at right here are made by MDT, and the models are as follows: the GRND POD, the Backcountry, and then the Mountain. In this video, we're going to cover these bipods' price and specifications. Then we're going to go out to the range for some practical demonstration and use scenarios. Then we'll come back inside and we're going to wrap this video up with some final thoughts. Starting with the prices on these bipods from lowest to highest, you've got the GRND POD coming in at $199. You've got the Backcountry at $299, and then a pretty substantial price jump up to the Mountain bipod at $450. However, as you're going to see in the practical use demonstrations here in a few minutes, the Mountain bipod is one of the very best bipods on the market and well worth that money. Now let's cover some of the technical specifications on these bipods, and then we're going to head out to the range. Now for the technical specifications, there's all sorts of things I want to go over, so I've got a clipboard here with some notes, and let's go ahead and read those out right now. So for the weight on these bipods, you've got 15.3 ounces on the GRND POD. This is going to be with the ARCA head attachment. There are many other attachment options that do change the weight a little bit. The Backcountry only comes in a Picatinny attachment system, and it comes in at 5 ounces. So absolutely wicked light. And then you jump over to the Mountain and you're going to be at 5.8 ounces. So still crazy light, and that's in the ARCA head configuration. It does have a Picatinny option, but I have it in the ARCA. Then we're going to go down to the build materials. So on the GRND bipod, it's going to be polymer, 6061 aluminum, and then carbon as the main build materials on it. Then you jump over to both the Backcountry and the Mountain, and they're going to be running a 7075 aluminum, titanium components, and then carbon. And that's how they're achieving this crazy light design. If we go down to the height, you're looking at a 4.5 to 9 inch height on the GRND POD. On the Backcountry, a 7.5 to 14.3 inch variation, which is a little bit more friendly for hunting type scenarios. But then when you go to the Mountain, again, this is where that price tag is coming in. You have a 2.7 inch to 15.8 inch variation. So tons of variation in that height. Now cant, being able to swivel this, you have a 40-degree cant on the GRND POD. You have an 80-degree cant on the Backcountry, and then a 360-degree on the Mountain. Now obviously it won't roll all the way over because the rifle's there, but it can go all the way to one side, all the way to the other, which gives you that 360. The GRND POD has no leg splay adjustment, as well as the Backcountry. They're both fixed once those legs come down. That's the angle they're going to be at. They're just going to adjust up and down. The Mountain has that crazy leg splay adjustment, which gets you down to that 2.7 inches of height, and then the 15.8 at the max when you bring those legs in. The GRND POD, the Backcountry, and the Mountain all have multiple leg positions. However, our next section is the GRND POD comes with rapid deploy legs where you can just pull them out really quick, as where the Backcountry and the Mountain are using a twist lock system, and they can lock the legs in at any height along the course of the shaft. So you're not stuck in any intervals. You can put them to exactly where you need. Now that we've covered most of the important specs, let's go ahead and head out to the range, and we're going to put these on some different rifles and show you some practical use scenario demonstrations. Now here's a little bit of an unorthodox example, but it's one of the best ways I can show how important this leg splay on the Mountain bipod really is. So I have a tire set up right here, and right now if I lay the bipod down on here, I'm actually just shooting right off the legs, which is on the sides of the legs, which is a really strong position to be in, and I'm not having to use the feet. However, if I want to get those feet dug in here, come in and find kind of one of these middle options. Now where the tire kind of slants in, the feet are dug right into that, giving me a really strong, support shooting position. As where if I'm running the Backcountry or the GRND POD, let's take a look and see what happens here. So Get this guy set up here, just kind of on there. So this guy, it's too small right now to go, in the center section of the tire. So I got to go way up here towards the top, which is now creating a lot less stable of a platform where I can kind of slip down in. Same thing if I come over here to the ground pod, definitely way too small in the middle, so I'm going to be shooting up front off the tire. Can I do it? Can I make it work? Yes, but I don't have anywhere near the versatility of going with the mountain bipod over there, where I can pick and choose exactly where I want those legs to be. So that's where I'm saying shooting over rocks, different obstacles and hunting scenarios and competition scenarios, the mountain bipod is going to be your best option. But if you're just strictly hunting, you're not shooting off tires or that kind of stuff, and you want to go with a little bit cheaper price point, the backcountry, will do a lot versatility wise, and then the ground is kind of, like I said, that entry level. It's heavier duty for that competition, but you are going to have some struggles compared to the MDT higher end series, like the SkyPod and some of those kind of things when it comes to competition scenarios. So just keep all that in mind. Last I kind of want to touch on is shooting also at slants. So on the mountain bipod, I can take this and I can turn this over and then put a leg out here to where the rifle is still flat if I'm running this into a hillside that's coming down, and I can still get off a really good steady shot. As well as if I'm shooting prone and you got this thing kicked out here to like its extreme setting, I mean, that is a wild platform to be able to set the rifle down on and get a crazy steady shot if you can get down into a good prone position. 333 yards, I spot 2 deer over there. Worked perfect. Used the MDT Mountain bipod, was able to spread that out super wide, had a steady base, was aiming right here, and it hit right there. Came through, he was quartering away, came straight through and just dropped him where he stood. Really, really excited, really blessed. God put this guy in front of us today. We've had a ton of action, ton of deer, and got one that we can get on the ground. Now the ground bipod, you do have a little bit of that adjustment, so I can kick this over and I can shoot off of a little bit of a slant, but nowhere near as aggressive of a hillside am I going to be able to shoot this guy. And then when we get to the backcountry, you can adjust again over, so I can get a slant off here that I can be shooting on, but because I don't have that adjustment to kick the leg out and do the leg splay, you are going to be limited on hillside shooting if you're doing like mountain hunting, where you're shooting off a lot of aggressive hills or things like that. Then you're going to be incorporating other parts of the bipods. These do all have the option to kick the legs out, so you can see this leg's coming straight down, this leg's coming out forward. You can do that on each one of the options and pick different leg angles that you want. That's not really a huge feature to me that I would choose on, but there are some people that probably use that feature. But overall, that's kind of the things I wanted to touch on out here at the range for a few practical scenarios so you can really envision where having that leg splay may come in more handy than not. Let's go ahead and head back inside and sum this video up. Now that you've seen the specs and the outside demonstration portion of this video, I want to bring it all back and give a final conclusion on each one of these models. So the ground pod is definitely a great entry-level competition bipod in my opinion. The rapid deploy legs are awesome, but they are a little noisy if you're in a hunting scenario. And it's just a little bit heavy of a setup for any deep backcountry hunting. I would not want to have the extra weight of this added on for long hiking scenarios. So if you're just hunting out of a vehicle or something like that, it's totally fine. But if you're gonna be going deep back in there, I would definitely move towards one of the lighter options. When it comes to the backcountry bipod, that's where you've got that crazy lightweight. You have all the leg adjustments to be able to get the different angles, so you can lock it in where you need. I like that you can lock it in at any point. It's really quiet, and having this Picatinny option, it's really, really quick on and off. So at that $299 price, it's pretty competitive against other bipods in its series. and I think it's a great hunting bipod. It does miss out when it comes to the competition section because you can't adjust that leg splay, and I think that's really important for hunting scenarios, but being able to level it out, have that cant, really, really good bipod for that pure hunter. And finally, the do-it-all everything bipod, which is going to be that mountain bipod. This thing is an absolute beast. I don't think there's a better ultralight yet can go out and do competition shoots on the market. I know Tricer has a model that they've come out with that's somewhat similar to this, but it is quite a bit heavier. This is just crazy light. This is what I shot my deer with this year, but being able to get these legs out and then adjust this cant on here to where you can be all the way down, be super steady, I mean just rock solid for longer distance shots, and then if you need that height to get over an obstacle, bring this all the way up. It is absolutely crazy. So for me, the absolute best, if you can afford it, option, it's gonna last you a long time, is going to be that mountain bipod. But it does definitely come with a little bit higher price tag on it. So you kind of got all the price gambit. You've got competition in hunting, best of both worlds, mostly competition, peer hunting. You go ahead and choose which one's gonna be best for you. I hope this video helped you decide if any of these three bipods are right for you. If it did, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel for more content like this coming out soon. And leave a comment with any questions or any comments on these models that you might have. Thank you for watching.